Buenos días, buenas noches, mi gente. We're taking a quick look, well, it's not going to be quick, at the 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem by Nathaniel Branden. Off the top of my head, I've been like stalling to read this book for at least like 9 months, maybe like 10 or something. Was it worth it? Definitely, because I found myself a pretty confident guy. Anyone who knows me knows that. But you can always work and tweak on certain things, yeah, that's like inevitable. And I was like, maybe there's something in here that can help me loosen up some blockages or like figure out some issues going on in the back door of my mind. And considering that, it was worth it. It's broken down in, you get the pillar broken down like the individual lessons in it or like the aspects of it. Then add it with some like clinical example and then a personal example and followed by a STEM sentence exercise. It's not affirmations, it's more of you get a STEM sentence and then you add to it like 5 to 10 endings, and that way you get like you do that in the morning, you do that at night. In the morning you write down what you want to reflect upon, and in the night it's what you've reflected upon, how it actually went throughout the day. Before I get to that, I'll just break down the pillars real quick. I'll be saying what Nathaniel is saying. I'm not like lecturing anyone with my own so-called higher knowledge, blah blah blah. So this first pillar is living consciously. What is this? It's our sense of consciousness as human. It's a double-edged sword, yeah, because it can let us exercise our power or subvert us from thriving. So by not living consciously through our actions, we diminish our our own worth and the respect we have for ourselves. And because we betray our consciousness so much by not doing what we know is the right course of action, instead of admitting or figuring out the mistake, we'll just procrastinate on it or become endless thinkers, ponderers, and both of those actions are just betrayals of our consciousness. And how does Nathaniel put it? It's living consciously is partly expressed by being conservative. My actions are aligned with my purpose. So for example, if my purpose is to crank a workout in the morning before work because that elevates my productivity, and then work on something like this book, like these book reviews. If I'm conscious that that's like what I want to make my purpose of and I don't act upon it, I just sleep in, I don't make the time for any of that, then I'm not living consciously. And living consciously as well presents itself through the art of noticing. So noticing your wants and needs, your desires, certain thoughts, emotions, noticing them and like nitpicking them so you can, that's the only way you can improve in those fields, by living consciously. Because for example, to an addict, consciousness is the enemy. Consciousness will like it's gonna break down those bad habits, those bad blockages. The second pillar is the practice of self-acceptance. So if self-esteem is something we feel, then self-acceptance is something we do. So at first it's to be for myself, orientated to what I desire, and that lets us encounter what needs tackling, without descending in self-hatred. And this is not like the weird conversation you had at the street crossing this pretty girl and it's still the cringy conversation still bugging your head. I don't think it's like that. It's more like you're on your side, you want to be for yourself, but you're also willing to think what you think, feel what you feel, and accept that you've done what you've done. And only through that sense of acceptance we can like change and grow. Thus, if I'm confronted with a mistake I've made and accepting that it is mine, I am free to learn from it and do better in the future. Because I cannot learn from a mistake I cannot accept having made. And to be a friend of yourself. Because you can condemn certain actions you've taken in the past and still have the compassionate of like the interest in the motives that prompted it. because after taking responsibility for what you've done, you can go deeper into the context of what led to it, according to Nathaniel. So when we allow ourselves to experience our emotions and accept them, sometimes this allows us to move to a deeper level of awareness where the information presents itself. And here Nathaniel doesn't state that it's like all positive movement. No. He doesn't say that we should accept ourselves, that we approve of every aspect of ourselves, that we feel indifferent towards change or improvement. Not at all, because if so, self-acceptance will just leave us stuck in the same place, and it's meant to improve ourselves. The third pillar is the practice of self-responsibility. So here we express control over our situation. What level of consciousness do we bring to our little relationship? How do we prioritize our time? What quality do we bring to our communications? Are all like examples of how we bring that forward. Now I've marked something here. I am responsible for my desires. No one owes me the fulfillment of my wishes. I do not hold a mortgage on anyone else's life or energy. If I have desires, it is up to me to discover how to satisfy them. I need to take big responsibility for developing and implementing an action plan. And the trap is like what's the Minecraft, the Valkuil, the Minecraft trap door? Yeah. The trap door is, if I am unwilling to take responsibility for the attainment of my desires, they are not really desires. They are just merely daydreams. Because what am I willing to do to get what I want? I like that in a way. That does open up. It has other the book contains like other questions you can ask yourself about that. For example, am I responsible for how I prioritize my time? All of that. So it boils down to taking an active attitude to like work, life, relationships, hobbies, whatever, instead of a passive one. Rewire yourself to be solution oriented instead of like self blaming, self victimization. And one of those building blocks is productiveness, according to Nathaniel. And I can kind of get into that because it supports our existence and satiates it in a way. Because like that sense of self-responsibility, taking the active stance on it, I mean, you can put that down. You can put that in, for example, this YouTube thing. Instead of just keeping it in my mind, just writing scripts, actually turning on the camera, even though I know it's not, but still being responsible for it. Or if you have relationship problems, instead of like wondering, why is my partner like this? Why is this problem arising or whatever? Just look for an actual solution. Like, how can we actually figure this out? Remember that if you don't do anything, nothing is gonna get better. No one is coming. You are truly in a way self-responsible for this change. So that's the third pillar. Fourth pillar is the practice of self-assertiveness. Now, self-assertiveness is expressed by honoring our wants, needs, and values, and seeking appropriate forms of self-expression. Now, it means to live authentically, to not live like your long life belongs to others, and that your purpose on this earth is not to live to their expectation. Setting our own ideals and sticking to them even when they are challenged, and this takes courage from your part, and that's what that self-assertiveness entails. The example given here that I remember, there was that he called up students in front of his classroom and made them say, I have the right to exist. And this dissecting how like some say it as if one says it as if he's a soldier, like shouting it as if it's like something drilled into him to yell back at the drill instructor. Another one says it with like a question mark at the end of it, with like shyness to like get that confirmation from others. But no, fuck that. You gotta assert yourself. You gotta put yourself in that position. I just, scoop the nuts, basically. Scoop the nuts and live it. the the fifth pillar is the practice of living purposefully. So I wish and I hope those are words that we use when we leave it up to like chance, or like it's between that and God or whatever. Like you're just not taking responsibility for it. Um, so if you want to make it work, you must make it your conscious purpose that it works according to Nathaniel. And we can achieve this by the attainment of goals we have selected. So by living purposefully, we live productively. And all this productive output translates our thoughts into the real world. So seek out work or actions that offer an outlet to your intelligence. That can be whatever. That can be hitting the gym. That can be these book reviews. I see some people like just posting podcasts and posting like poetic verses. And I mean, that is just, they're living according to their purpose. They take whatever action they have to show their intelligence. Now, but these goals must be specific in a way as well. It's the same way hitting the gym. You could have like the big end goal, like being shredded by summer, but you need short-term goals, like every monthly or 3 monthly goals. That way it becomes more attainable, and those short-term goals specifically should be very specifically described. And now, as the author puts it, purpose unrelated to a plan of actions do not get realized. They exist only as frustrated yearnings. And living purposefully is something we can only achieve via self-discipline and routinely checking up on your goals and methods, and like maybe adapting on them. The sixth pillar is the practice of personal integrity. Now, at the simplest level, personal integrity entails such questions as, am I honest, reliable, and trustworthy? Do I keep my promises? Do I do the things I say I admire? And do I avoid the things I say I deplore? Now, many of us, if not all, I think, have had this, like, not battle, but like we ask ourselves, are we actually practicing the integrity, or does it have a lot of inconsistencies? And we practice it more often in some areas than in others. So don't evade that inconsistency, but explore it. And building blocks Nathaniel puts out here is like congruence, not betraying our standards, dealing with guilt, and are your values actually rational? Now, also, as your personal standards are set, don't change them because the world around you is in a way corrupt or cynical or whatever. Especially towards those standards, don't change them for that. Because if you break your own moral code, I mean, you'll feel, just shit. If my goal is to hit the gym 4 times a week and I don't do that, I don't know. I'll not, worthless is way too big of a but I'll be like, damn, how can I not stick to that? If my goal is to wake up at a certain hour and I don't stick to that because the night before I don't know, was watching too much YouTube, I do get a sense of worthlessness, and it's because we have those personal integrity that we hold ourselves, like those standards we hold ourselves to. And at the end of the day, it's that inner voice that matters the most when building self-esteem. Those are the 6 pillars described by Nathaniel Branden. And one big takeaway point here is that it's all in the practice of, like, each pillar is something that needs to be practiced in a way. Those STEM sentences help a lot because they reinforce it daily. I've done it only for a week because it's like throughout the day, throughout the days of the week, you write it down, and then in the weekend you can like ponder again on it. And to be honest, it did help whenever, like Monday till Friday, it really helped to like stick to the points. So I hope to take this along in the future. I think he gives you like till week 27 or 36 of like different, it's not affirmations, but like some STEM sentences you can use. because I have affirmations, but they don't work the same, because you say them out, you might say them just out loud once a day and just forget about it. But this one, because you actually write it down and you got to think about it, and it's not thinking deeply about it, but just um like boop, 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 5 quick answers. Boop, 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 boop. Don't make it too deep. Don't think too much of it. Like real spontaneous endings, and they change a lot, but there is some consistency in it. And the fact that you summarize those thoughts at night, or like think about them again, does help you internalize it. So in that way, if there's one big gem in here, it are those stem sentences. They are at the back. Yeah. Yeah, so here, well, you can't see it, but it's a bunch of like different stem sentences that you can use to like become more conscious and aware. Or how do you bring more integrity towards X, Y, and Z? So in that aspect, I will really recommend this book. It still has like a couple of chapters detailing specific topics like self-esteem and childhood, self-esteem and work as a cultural thing. But those were, to me, less interesting. But let me know whatever you thought. And oh, this is Edgar from the future giving a quick summary. So it's the first pillar, living consciously. So our sense of consciousness, that the actions we take are what we actually want to, followed by self-acceptance. This would be like you accept the flaws you have, you accept the feelings, and you try to figure out why. And above all, you accept the mistakes you've made and use that to learn from. Going forward to self-responsibility, no one is coming to save you. It's all you. Things will only change if you make them change. And this translates as well in how you act upon things, how you communicate to others, the attention you dedicate to your work. The following pillar is that of self-assertiveness. So you gotta scoop the nuts, as I said, as Elisha said famously, and just assert the fact that you belong there, and just make your place known. Then living purposefully, this in a way is translated by just being very productive. Choose your purpose, stick to those morals in a way, but that comes later. But like, live your life in accordance to more purposefully, yeah, achieve the productive goals you've set out for yourself. And the last pillar is personal integrity, which just means that you're congruent with your actions and the words. Now, don't mind me, I'm moving. Edgar from even a further future. I actually wanted to break it down and give like lessons regarding commitment issues and like relationship traumas that you can pick out of this book. Now, if that would interest any of you, leave a comment and I'll definitely make a follow-up part on it, because I've noted it down already. It's just writing the script. But I just wanted to finish this. I wanted to ship it out. So yeah, keep me posted and have a blessed day.